First trial and impressions. A 4 AcO-DMT trip report uploaded to AcO-DMT on October 17, 2006. Yesterday I had my first trial with this compound. Since 4 AcO-DMT is still very new and first-hand accounts are lacking, I thought I would post my experience. The dosage was in capsule form on a mostly empty stomach and was estimated to be between 8 to 12 milligram, measured with an American Way DIA-10 milligram scale, not the most accurate in my experience. I wanted to see how this would compare to a low dose of mushrooms, 1 to 1.5 grams. And also other RCs like 2CI and 2CT2 in the same dose range. This was my first trip in 2 weeks and my third in the last month. Within 30 minutes I was definitely starting to feel it. I felt sedated and decided to lay down for the come-up. I seemed to feel the urge to lay down at the beginning of many of my trips, so this was not out of the ordinary. The come-up was faster and more intense than I expected, and at this point I was somewhat regretting taking the substance. I often have similar thoughts at the start of trips. The visual distortions were similar to mushrooms, but seemed a bit more digital, if that makes sense, with trailing and also digital/glitchy audio hallucinations. After lying like this for about 20 minutes, I decided to get up to put some music on. I also noticed mild time distortion at this point. I put on the album Tak by Sigur Rós and listened to this album from track 3 to the finish. I like to listen to this album during trips as I find it helps put me in a positive, introspective mood, and the lack of English lyrics allows me to feel the emotions of the vocals without the actual words having an impact. I found the music to be enhanced and very clear, similar to, but not better than, an equivalent low dose of shrooms. While tripping on mushrooms, I can see complex fractal artwork with 3D texture morphing from the marks on my kitchen floor. For example, I may see dozens of couples embracing, like Hindu tantric artwork, but this makes up one large picture, etc. With 4 AcO-DMT, I had a similar effect, but it wasn't quite as obvious, and this time I saw what seemed to be an image of a demon instead of something more uplifting. The thought came to my mind to try to consciously generate the feeling of love. I think on a very high dose of 4 AcO-DMT, or anything else for that matter, when I get in any trouble, the ego is threatened, the world is dissolving around me, etc. The key is to self-generate positive emotion and I will be fine. Perhaps this is obvious, but seemed like an important insight, perhaps in preparation for higher doses. Anyway, the most remarkable thing about the experience was the brevity of it. In just slightly more than 2.5 hours after ingesting the capsule, I was nearly back to baseline. I have noticed this with low-dose shrooms recently as well. In my opinion, of the RCs I've tried so far, 2CT2, 2CI, 4 AcO-DMT is the best by far. Better visual and mental effects with the least side effects. I think this is about as close to pure synthetic psilocin/psilocybin as any RC could be. There were subtle differences from mushrooms apparent even at this low dose, but I would expect that if I had pure psilocin/psilocybin, it would also be subtly different as well.